Oh, wait, I'm supposed to talk, right? Is that how this starts?
I don't
I don't
remember.
remember.
I don't
I
remember.
don't
It's been
remember.
so long. Oh my goodness.
Quick, check.
Anyway, hi, welcome. It's Monday. It's Monday, and technical difficulties are over. It was a summer of technical difficulties. We were going to come to you, and every Monday we planned on it.
Every Monday.
Every Monday,
It was
like
like consistent.
it was insane. But we are here, and welcome everybody. Welcome. I think that guy in the other picture, one is named John and one's Cubbie, but I it's been so long, I kind of forget.
The words are there, so that helps us. It gives us a clue.
Like it's like a cue
Oh,
card.
that is kind of cheating, I guess,
Yeah.
but it's all good.
Yeah, well, usually Cubbies is in code when we first connect, so I have to go and translate it too.
From my government name.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's a stage name that he has. Big shiny balls. It's like, what does that mean? He goes, no, I really like disco balls.
Yeah.
That was a good song. We're not talking about those kind of songs
No,
tonight, right?
Nope.
We're
no,
not talking
not
about EDM songs. Okay,
no, not
just
not
want to
so
make
much.
sure.
But maybe they evolve into such things. You never know. Could.
After this past weekend, I could make a good list of those,
Yeah. Oh,
but
we hadn't had that. But no, guys, what I wanted to do tonight is talk about. So since the last time we were together, we've done a number of shows. The boys and I have, and I've gotten back into the bar season here in the Upper Midwest, and one of the observations that we've had this year, and I wanted to see if you guys were seeing a similar thing, is that the early 2000s, bouncing even back into the 90s, but that kind of punk rock band music has, we've talked about in past shows that it has some moments and such, but it seems that it's become a stronger force for the entertainment side than it has in any number of years, probably since it was first out in the high schools. And again, the late 90s, early 2000s. And that's what I wanted to kind of talk about, what you guys are seeing, and then, throw out some songs that for people who are like, I really don't know that genre too much, what we're seeing that's been working with our guests. So that was the idea. So what have you guys been seeing? That's just in general. What kind of music has been working for you guys, since we last talked? So over the summer months.
Go ahead, Dan.
right, Cubby. Okay, I'll go then. I guess I'll go. So we're still in a lot of the throwback issue, right? And I don't think that we're ever going to really grow out of that as the key component for weddings. You get some new stuff, right? Like Opalite. That went over Fate of Ophelia, like the new Taylor's tracks. Like those went over really well with the ladies. Pink Pony Club is still going over strong, with couples. But I think beyond that, like just new stuff has not that it's not good, it's just not really gained any consistent traction within our couples. I am not really seeing much requests. So definitely still going into that throwbacks. And again, we've talked about this, the age of influence, right? The stuff that was popular when they were in middle and high school. That's still been king, and I think will continue to do so. But that's what's been consistent versus anything that's been on the newer track for sure.
Has
Uh,
anybody got any K-pop Demon Hunter? I have. That's starting to
Not when
get
there wasn't
air.
kids.
No, I got it at a wedding. Honestly, it's starting to get Kiss 107 airplay out here. Kiss
really?
FM. Yeah, it's really Golden. The song Golden is starting to get airplay and Kiss.
Ooh,
So make
I don't
sure
want to
you
hear
have.
that.
Yeah,
I
Not
probably
breaking
shouldn't.
this equipment.
I know. I probably shouldn't have unscrewed the microphone. So that was actually getting ready for homecoming season. That was something that it's like, okay, I'm going to break down and actually watch the movie, and
I'm sorry.
it is what it is. It wasn't the most exciting thing ever, but we just we got the videos because promo only. For those of you who don't know, promoonly.com, you can get clean music edits and a lot of great content out there for mobile DJs. We had the videos, we had the things, and the school dances. It was just like crickets when it came to anything from that Netflix show. So it's like, wow, even though it was the top of the charts, people were like, "Oh, you haven't put out the charts in several months." It's like, yeah, what do you want to see all the songs from the Demon Hunter movie? There's just the Huntrix and that's it. That's that's what the top 10 is. So but I think that kind of fits back into, obviously younger kids where they're streaming and streaming and streaming and streaming those songs over and over is now influencing our charts. And that's why I think, as Dan was mentioning, is that there's just not a ton of stuff. Somebody, can you play something new? Can you play Pink Pony Club? And it's like, oh yeah, but can you pick anything other than that? Because, we played it 3 times already tonight. Yeah. And again, this is bar where I'm changing the floor, rotating the crowd throughout the night. And there's like, no, can you just play that one? It's the one I know. It's like, okay, Grandpa, we'll play it for you. And then you better be off to bed. Because they were really old, like 50.
But they love it, though.
Yeah, they can. It's a sing-along song, and I think that kind of bridges back to why a lot of the bands we're going to talk about in a little bit here, why they have are doing so well right now at our events. So, Dan, you mentioned the kind of the throwback and the older stuff, and the interesting thing that we had with our homecoming dances this fall is that we had way more requests for things that are 10 plus years old at these dances. We didn't have newer stuff, and even though Michael was mixing in some of the newer things that typically have gone over pretty well, within reason, it should have been a bigger song. The kids were like, but you play something that is going back to Ice Ice Baby type of a thing, and the kids were like on fire for that, and they were like bouncing off the walls for it. It was even in the high school realm that yes, and I'm sure there's situations where there's going to be that more of an EDM or more of a all night long, but that wasn't the things that the kids were getting the most fired up about. And maybe it's because that the older stuff is a surprise to them. I'm not going to for surely whatever it was. It's just that if a person was like, oh yes, I'm going to play everything from 2022 to 2025, and that's what I'm going to do for this high school dance. It, with the ones that are experienced this fall, would have been a complete flop.
I think there's a philosophy, and we're not necessarily talking about, teen dances tonight, but I think there's definitely a philosophy that goes into it. And I think it's twofold. I think some of it is in the fall, the saturation, I think, is a little bit higher on the TikTok songs that you're having, because during summer they were able to listen to it nonstop. They had their phones out nonstop, where once school kicks back in theory, they're not, there's a 7-hour time period where they're not as saturated with it. So, that could be leading maybe to some of that, where the older tracks are not always being used for a TikTok trend, or a TikTok backing track. And so there's a little bit of a difference there. So I think that's why the older ones kind of still seem enjoyable. And again, without listening to Michael's mix, I know Michael knows his tracks. If he's not mixing in the right cut of that track, like the right, 30 seconds of that track that was being used in the TikTok trend, it's not going to work. Like they'll kind of stand around and go, I know it's from this song, but I don't know this part.
Waiting for the part.
And it's like, okay, let me sing the 10 seconds I know. And now it's over. And I got to pretend like I'm standing here until it's going to give me the chorus again. And that's really what we're running into. So with those, for those of you doing teen dances, it's a lot of cut edits. It's a lot of jump points to keep those little chunks and then getting out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you're bridging with some of the older tracks that you can then layer in for maybe a minute and a half before you're having to move on. So there's definitely some pieces of that. But again, those sing-along pieces, bringing back to what we are talking about tonight, that is going to be key, because that is that communal event. That is that, bringing everybody together. That's, timeless, whether it's new track, whether it's old track, whether it's school dance, whether it's a wedding.
And I think that's actually really a really good observation there, Dan, is a couple of because a lot of the songs that we're using and have been going over well, their effectiveness was all based around this sing-along capacity of those songs and how people engage them that way. And even looking at some of as we're going through the course of a night, when we get done, we talk about, okay, what songs really went well? The crowd responded well, that everyone was involved. And of course, many of them were sing-along. But we were talking about it is that Country Roads from John Denver, as an example, we played that at at more weddings this fall than I've probably played it in my whole career. Because and I'm guessing it's because of the sing along aspect of it. And it may be utilized somewhere in a movie or in a TikTok, whatever. Everybody knows that one section, that first verse in that one section. And after that, it's like at one wedding, we actually had a person play it on a guitar. Everybody sang along to the first verse and the chorus. And then the second verse, he was like, I need you guys to help me with the second verse. And it's like, well, they have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the world we live in, where it is that I know this much, and I don't want to know. I don't want to learn any more of it. I'm not going to learn the second verse to any of the songs. Not, kind of felt like listening to the long version of some songs where it's like, wow, I didn't know there was a third and fourth and fifth verse. Who knew that American Pie went that long, man? Okay.
Any DJ who's ever shaken his head at that song, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. So Cubbie, you and I were talking a couple of weeks ago. We mentioned some of the songs and such that kind of fit into this genre. When you have that bride he's saying, Cubbie, I want to, I really enjoy this type of music. That is that kind of the early 2000s kind of punk rock. What does that lead you? Which direction when it comes to selecting songs? What groups are you looking at?
Oh my gosh. Well, the easiest one is Mr. Brightside by the Killers. That's probably for us here in the Midwest is number one all time. And then I'd sometimes do a little Blink 182. What's My Age Again, or All the Small Things. It depends, it's watching the crowd. Fall Out Boy, a little Sugar We're Going Down. I love that one. If they're going really hard, I might do like a Lit, My Own Worst Enemy, which is my car in my front yard.
Mm-hmm.
Jonas Brothers just went through here recently, and so they toured with Boys Like Girls, which were kind of like pop emo, and so that was trending locally for a couple weeks, because they just got done playing the city, and it was just brought back what I call middle school memories.
Sure.
Middle school freshman year memories. So yeah, those are there's a lot more. Cause Charlotte, the Anthem is another one I like to use a lot. Yellow Card, Ocean Avenue. Yeah. So I could about those. And then I'd have to start deep tracking for me. That's, that's 10 or 12 right there. I don't play any more than 4 or 5 in a given night sometimes, so like I'm just watching how deep I got to go. And after that, I got to really deep, for me, got to deep track it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But looking for other people in the chat, maybe he's got some ideas. Dan, what he's done.
So you mentioned that you play 4 or 5, and this is probably one of the biggest changes from the last few years, because I've been playing this bar for a few years now. This is almost what I use to get people back, get the attention back, or the focus back, or what have you, the engagement back in the bar right now. Is that if I go and I have a dance set where I come through and I'm doing at 120, 125 to 130 BPM, and I'm going to have that group of people who are out there having a great time, and then if I want to get the whole place engaged in doing something, I've got to head to this. So when you mentioned 4 or 5, I'm probably playing 4 or 5 an hour, if not more. I might have a dance set, maybe about a 15-minute dance set with some in and out edits, and then we're going to be doing maybe a couple of karaoke songs, and then it'll probably be mainly more of that 90s and early 2000s kind of punk rock type world, because of that sing-along aspect, where people they will sing the refrains, and in many cases they actually know verses. Woo, imagine that. Dan, has this been something that you have seen and experienced?
Yeah, so I mean, as Cubbie mentioned, Killer's Mr. Brightside. Like, I think if any DJ doesn't know that track, I'd wonder what rock you've been living under. That one, it was funny because I remember this was like a show we did like last year. Not this topic, but that song came up.
Yeah,
and we said, we're it felt like it was on its way out, and it was there for a while. It felt like it just didn't have that, didn't have that power that it had, for the 3 years maybe leading up to it, and now all of a sudden it seems like it's back again, where it's just like it was as strong as it was before. People are definitely responding to it, and to the point of, how many am I'm only doing maybe about 3 or 4 total, but what I'm noticing is they're working. And when I get to about that third one, I kind of pull out for a little bit. And then I don't let myself get back into it like I should.
Sure.
And this past weekend was a prime example where I really should have backed around and hit a second mini set, if you will, just because of how well the first set went for at least the first 2.5 of what I chose, and maybe it was what I chose. Maybe it was the songs that I chose that kind of that catered to that. I see what you threw in the chat. Yeah, I would agree. Jimmy Eat World, The Middle is another great
Oh
one.
yeah.
I just had a few that I put in there. I wasn't sure when they were going to post.
Yeah. So it was kind of funny though that Cubbie, you mentioned Jonas Brothers, because I don't think of like pop emo rock when I think of Jonas Brothers. I mean pop, yes, but like a pop emo type of feel. I don't typically think of them except for, and this has been a recent surprise of mine, and I need to put this in a little bit more, Year 3000.
Yeah.
I was not playing that track. I did not really, every once in a while it might pop up on we wouldn't mind hearing it, but it wasn't like on a must play. So I was just kind of like letting it kind of whatever, okay. I played it and I went, first off, I kind of like half remembered, but I was just like, oh yeah. And the response I got, oh wow. Like it was just like, okay, like this is one that I definitely need to bring more to the forefront, make sure I'm dropping and maybe even dropping in like if I'm wanting something to start a different set than Mr. Brightside. Like if I want to start a different set from it, use Year 3000. I think I think that's a great option.
To clarify, it wasn't the Jonas Brothers that I considered that was pop rock. It was their opening act, which is Boys Like Girls. They are
Gotcha.
the kind of the punk rock band, and they
Yeah.
had there wasn't Check Yes Juliet. Anyway, there was one song, and I had been playing it for a couple weeks, like I said, because it's been a couple months since I traveled. But I just want to clarify, I don't consider the Jonas Brothers punk rock. It was their opening act, Boys Like Girls, and because it was a middle school emo type thing, because the Jonas Brothers brought back a lot of girls from their middle school, that's who they had on tour with them. So it was fun. Sorry for clarifying.
No, it's fine. It was definitely that pop rock type of feel, more so than some of their other like hits, which I would definitely consider more on the pop end. But it kind of created some of that same vibe, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. I feel like I deviated from the question that you asked, John. If I'm dropping some other tracks that I definitely I've seen some good response from, Metro Station, Shake It, which was another one that was kind of a surprise. Like this one, I was like, okay, let's give this a shot as well. And they were it was that singing it all out, all into it. I was kind of funny that you brought up Lit. I haven't dropped Lit for a little while. That one was probably about 3 or 4 years ago when it was Mr. Brightside. I was looking for something else to go.
Yeah.
I was doing a good Charlotte, and then I was like, okay, how do I go? But I want to bring up my speed. I would drop that one, and it worked, but I haven't really tried with it lately. I had another one that kind of surprised me out of nowhere. Was The Darkness. I Believe in a Thing Called Love.
Yeah.
I used to use that track actually as my grand entrance song for a while, like way back when. And it kind of got away from it. And then I had a couple that walked out of their ceremony to the track. And I was like, I'd forgotten about that one. So that's another one. Again, I don't think, some of these that we're mentioning, some of these, and we're calling them maybe more deep tracks. It's going to depend upon what they respond to, right? Like, is your crowd like more of a mainstream throwback, or were they really into the pop rock, pop emo type of sound? I think The Darkness, I think Lit had some more mainstream piece to it, but I think to really like get down and sing it, you need that borderline to almost be a little bit more mainstream with it.
Or they have to go hang out with the DJ like me on a Saturday night, and
well,
you do that for a few weeks, and you'll be well versed in that. Yeah, Cubbie, when you mentioned the Boys Like Girls, that's actually a song from Good Charlotte. That's what I thought you were referring to. Is that the way you described it? It sounded like the Jonas Brothers did a cover of that. And it's
no, yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry.
If they did that, that would actually be really, really cool because it is a good song.
Yeah,
from Good with if you guys boys like girls and girls like cars and money or something like that is the refrain of the song. It's a neat little tune. The videos, unfortunately, all the good Charlotte videos. I'm doing music videos at the bar too. Their videos are all 48 whatever pixel, low resolution. It's like, oh, come on, promo only. I need better. I need better. But
way back then, they didn't have them good videos.
Oh, Lifestyles of Rich and Famous. Okay.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Oh, some of your stuff didn't post on YouTube. It's cut off right after the
Oh,
Good
I
Charlotte.
suppose.
I'm just yeah, can't see the rest, but
Yeah. I'll put the get the list and put it up there because there was a bunch there. But in this day and age, this is what's weird. Weird, I guess, is beneficial. You can go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I want a list," and it actually or give me things hot hit songs that would go with this. And it's amazing. And that's actually, guys, I wanted 2 weeks. Let's do, or whenever Cubbie's going to be back. He's got a busy schedule. We should do a night where we're talking about AI, how a person can use AI in this, and then we'll bring someone in younger who will actually tell us how to use it properly. But that, I think we should aim to do that in a couple of weeks. But yeah, the one that. So speaking of the video side of it, I've been taking some of these videos, the actual video off YouTube, and the audio is usually crap. So it's like re-editing and putting the actual song under it again and making sure everything somewhat lines up and things. And I made a handful of them for this past weekends, or I should say the next time I was going to be there, which was this weekend. And it's surprising to me. One of the bands that I used this weekend was Newfound Glory. Their song is "My Friends Over You" is their main tune, and I thought this is something that back when it came out and we were doing laser discs. If you guys remember what laser discs were, they were these big things, and we had gotten Newfound Glory was on one of those laser discs, and that was one that we played because you only had it was almost like back when we only had certain music to play with records or tapes or whatever. Well, you didn't have a big music video library, so when you had a video that was clean and the song was okay, it got played. So that was how Newfound Glory made it into our play rotation back in the day when we were doing high school dance video shows. And it got really good response at some of the schools. Now, I don't know if it's because I played it every time I was there and the kids actually started to get into it or what it was, but
that's what it was.
So I finally had the video for it for this past weekend and played it. And I was actually surprised at the number of people who were just like, oh my gosh. And they knew the song and they were singing along to it. And it's not like I had the words. I did not expect that.
It's because you did their middle school dances. They're like, damn, you guys remember this thing? Y'all remember this from middle school? That DJ used to play that at middle school? And John's like, yeah,
it kind of looks like that guy that's on the stage right now.
Well, let's put this into a chronological perspective. That would have been 25 to 30 years ago that song came out, because I think that one was in the 90s. So 30 years ago, and if they would have been 12 at that, 12, 14, 15. So now they're talking they're in their 40s. Yeah, probably not in the bar.
Is that your bar demographics in Minnesota? I was just laughing like that. They're all standing there going, God, this is played at my middle school all the time.
All the time, man. It was like he played it 4 times a night because it was the only video he had. And we got to watch it again and again.
You mentioned the middle school thing. It was funny. So the wedding I had 2 weeks ago, like that's what the groom told me. He told his wife and she told me, but it was like, he wanted like the middle school vibe, the middle school dance. And I was just like,
oh, snowball time.
Like
Boys
I know we
here,
know that.
Girls over here.
Well, but he's like, he's like, I know we know that they kind of like think of it and they want it. But the fact that he came out and said it, it was just like, okay. And I mean, and it I don't think maybe I played a few from his middle school ages. But it was just like, okay, like just the fact that some of them even recognize that that's the case.
Which is good. I mean, I don't know if maybe he's figured it out just from years of experience of going to events, or someone he had the conversation with him. But it's nice to know that. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I think we should pick all these new songs for all of my guests, all the young people in my crowd, because they're going to love all these new songs that I'm going to pick. And then we get this list of 20 must plays from like 2023 on up. And it's like, wow, yeah, these are songs. That's for sure.
We need my daughter in on this show because she is literally the same demographics for all the brides. She's 29,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Dad, you know what's trending right now?" And it's I'm a believer because of all the Shrek movies and Shrek, so they
Yeah.
watch them back on Netflix recently had all the Shrek movies, or I think one of the streaming apps did, and they start watching it to relive that middle school time. So, she's like, I'm a believer, and she said, I got the Eddie Murphy version with the donkey in the back,
Mm-hmm.
so. And it's so their age is now like Shake Your Tail Feathers was requested this last weekend. So what we used to think was like old is now the newer stuff is that My Humps is trending for me right now. Like I get all the time. Yeah, right. So it's like their ages as the brides get younger and we get older. For us, to me, I can see the trend. I'm watching just the transition to newer songs
Mm-hmm.
or where it's going. So it's fun to people drop. To me, it's like knock the dust off and play them again.
Yeah, isn't it something how what's old has become new again type of a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that means Dan, there's still hope for us. Yeah, yeah, we still might be cool. So you mentioned of course Blink 182. We talked about Good Charlotte and the Killers and such. A couple of others. One that's a surprise for me. There was the group Bowling of Soup was the 1985. If you're doing videos, that's always a fun video because people think it's kind of funny and they get into that. The one that actually gets the best response with my crowd right now because it covers a few different bases is Bowling for Soup did a cover of Flowers, and I might have even talked about this on one of the show. It's actually a really good cover because it's a little bit more of the edge to it than what the original, and the response because they know the song, they've heard it, but now it's a little bit more pepped up and a little bit more edgy, and it's got more of that emo type feel. It's a great version to use. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the 1985. I mean, I like the video and such, but it just hasn't had the response. Stacy's mom from
Yeah.
Fountains of Wayne is one, even though, and of course, if you've watched the music video, towards the end of the music video, the young man is in the pool house and he's over there, and it's people are out there and they're singing along and they're dancing, and then they know when the video is coming up and at the end of it, and then they're all like pointing and laughing at the screen. But what it is, whatever it is.
And never play it when the bride's name is Stacy, too, by the way.
No,
FYI. Yeah.
there's
No, that's the perfect time to play it. Because that's when you get the bride's mom who suddenly becomes the show or the star of the night, like for a hot minute. Like that, the bridesmaids will go nuts because they all love her mom. And they're gonna love the fact that we're singing to her mom. Yeah, trust me. If the bride is Stacy, you're playing it.
They probably would, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't play the video in that situation.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
at a wedding, we don't do videos anymore. Anyway, we did that for a couple of years, but yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see it. American Hi-Fi with Flavor of the Week was another one that has been going over very very well in that sing along. Good Charlotte stuff. I'm the Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous or the Anthem. Neither of them really have done well.
Really?
But the girls or the girls like boys. That one that's my next one. I'm gonna try and target that one because I want to find something from Good Charlotte because I enjoy their what they've done. But they're still together and they're still creating albums. But I don't think they've done anything that's hit since those three songs.
I don't think they toured. I haven't seen anything around touring either.
You go and look at their website, and because I was doing some research on them a little bit here. They're still out there. They're still doing it. They've aged, but
yeah.
I think with the Anthem, though, you want to make sure. I don't know. I've just gotten the feeling like when I've worked, it's not been from the beginning.
No,
that's the thing.
Song.
Like, and it's not. It's not like the TikTok piece where you only need like a 30-second snippet, but it just seems like it's not like that one in particular is not one of those you're playing the whole song or even like a third of the song. You got to jump into a different spot. And I think that might give you a little bit more success than what you're getting if you're playing it from the beginning.
Yeah, and definitely, because the Flavor of the Week is another one that the playing from the beginning. There's a lot of kind of dead space at the beginning that just doesn't, not exciting. My Chemical Romance Teenagers was one of the videos that I recreated this for this week. And that was one that probably had more of the bar all engaged at the same time. Not quite the Don't Stop Believin' level of engagement and sing along, but it was high. It was like, holy cat. Obviously, whoever the DJ was when these people were all in high school or junior high, that was the song they played, which when we tried to play it at a couple of schools and I had advisors come up and say, do you know what they're singing about in this song? It's like, who cares? Look at the kids, they're having fun.
Yeah.
And get out of the way. I'm about ready to play Moni Moni for the kids because they'll have fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after I lost that school, but yeah, it went over very, very well indeed. So I think it's definitely an area, because I don't want to go too terribly long with this this part of the. I think it's an area that, looking ahead for next year, because even a couple of the weddings that have started to work on their playlists for next year, I'm seeing some of these songs and these groups showing up on the playlist as some of the early songs that they want to make sure are played. So it's kind of giving me the idea that maybe there's something here, that we're getting to that era where these songs, maybe their parents were the junior hires. Could they be? Let's figure this out. If we're talking 35 years ago, their parents are in junior high. Their parents are going to be roughly almost 50. Okay, this is really making some really bad math, but yeah.
No. You're not doing the math right. We're only talking 20, 25 years ago.
But there's going to be some in the 90s, so we're talking 30 years ago.
Yeah, but 30 years ago.
30 years ago,
But if your couple's 30,
48, if you had a child at 22, 23, it could be, oh my gosh, this could be, we might be playing this generation's Elvis Presley. Mom loves Elvis. We heard that kind of stuff in the 80s. She loves Elvis music. We should play more of it. But okay.
I don't think we're there.
Okay, maybe not.
I don't think we're there.
Maybe not. Maybe it's coming. Maybe we're just looking into the crystal ball and it's another year or two out. I don't know. Maybe.
By the way, one other artist that you skipped over that I just want to make sure we get included in this would be Avril Lavigne. I mean, she had Skater Boy. She had Girlfriend. Like I said, Girlfriend started popping up on my on a couple of the playlists. And again, I hadn't quite played it. And then it popped up on Sirius. I was listening for I don't remember, Pop 2K or something like that. And I was like, and I heard it and I was like, yeah, I missed that one. That one I should have done. So yeah, she's again another one of those that had a few tracks that you could work in.
I forget about her all the time. That's the greater I always get something from everybody, but yeah, I forgot all about her.
Yeah, they are bridging that.
Yeah,
she worked in that set. I didn't even think about that myself. And then No Doubt would have been kind of bridging out of that, and
a 303. Yeah,
because
Kesha. Roll up a little.
We're kind of working our way, kind of bridging, looking for bridging, and those would definitely be bridging songs, and they all had a great Just a Girl. They were bebopping and bouncing off the walls for that too. Yeah.
Now that would be their parents' middle school days, but
could be. Yeah.
For No Doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all fun. It's all good. So yeah, there's some definitely stuff. If you go out to Spotify, this is another area where you can do some music research. Go pop out there and look for a punk rock. I literally had a bride from this fall that the boys, one of the weddings the boys did. She went out to Spotify and she put together an emo punk 2000s rock type of playlist. I think that was how her words were, and it's like, well, it should have been worded differently. But anyway. It was a great set containing a lot of this music and a lot of stuff I hadn't even heard of myself, but it was some fun stuff to utilize. But it wasn't a dancing type. It was more of that sing along type, or that bouncing, jumping up and down. But
yeah.
And her crowd was a dancing crowd for 80s music that night.
Ooh.
So after a point in time, the boys are like, we got to go and they're going to dance to Summer of '69, and they're going to dance to Footloose, and they're going to dance to Bon Jovi. We get into late '90s, early 2000s. They they didn't dance anymore. They would sing along. The other parts of the crowd were, but the ones who were actually wanting to be on the dance floor, yeah, they wanted the Jessies girl it up.
I will say this, like, there's also some other fun that you can have if you have a couple that's really into that. My couple knew that stuff wouldn't necessarily work for their dance floor later on. So we actually there are piano covers of the pop emo, pop punk, and we used that for the prelude to the ceremony. That was fun because like they're coming in and you can see some people kind of when there's the instrumental track and it's far enough away that you're kind of like, wait a minute. I think I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing, but I'm definitely not hearing it the way I normally do. And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, we did that for their prelude, just because we could, and that's what they wanted, and it was a fun way to do it.
Yeah, that would definitely be. We had a couple where they wanted to use covers of a genre. It wasn't that type, but yeah, it's just hearing it differently makes it. It's like, oh, makes it almost fresh and fun.
You're in the doctor's office, and you're like, yeah, I know that.
That's the way it would have been. I mean, when you hear some of these tracks, it's like it's definitely like, wait a minute, yeah.
Is that Newfound Glory? That we used to play middle school all the time.
Yeah, it's like, are we back in central Minnesota? It seems like we are. I don't understand.
So the doctor's off. I'm sorry, John.
Good stuff. So let's see, Cubbie, you had next week. You were busy.
Yeah, I got an event next Monday.
Okay,
I apologize.
So let's shoot that. We'll be back in 2 weeks if we can. That'll be November 24th.
I'm good.
If that works for you guys, and let's dig into AI that night a little bit because there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of things that's being used, and I think we'll have a young one come in and talk with us a little bit to give us a different perspective because we're trying to use AI to, it's like, how do you fix my phone? It's not working.
I did a corporate event with a millennial, and she's not from here. She's from Miami. And I was telling her where we were going to dinner. So she chat GPT the place that we went to dinner, so she can see what chat GPT said to get and what some of their better dishes are and things to say.
Yes.
This girl chat GPT's everything. That's her new Google.
That's literally the kind of thing I wanted to, because I've got that going on in my house when it comes to, there's some interesting things for those who don't use it. I mean, I use it a little bit, and you guys have seen some of us, but we'll have Michael join us that night if it works in his schedule, because he uses it way more than I. So good stuff. All right, Dan, take us home, and we're going to wrap up tonight.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for taking some time to join us, whether it's live or whether you caught the replay because you're like, wait a minute, these guys haven't talked for a couple months. I wasn't expecting them to be on. Either way, we definitely appreciate you. Have yourself a great one, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.